of contriving a plan view. I'm going to save it as a scene so that we could examine the documents, the evidence that we use to model the building. So we have the Sanborn drawing. Which is showing here. If I turn that off, we look at just the AutoCAD drawing, right? So let's save, let's create a scene. New style. And rename this plan all underlays. And let's turn off the visibility of the Sanborn map and create a new scene and call that Plan AutoCAD. Only. I'm going to save this lesson 9. And talk about the columns. So, the Sanborn map tells us that, among other things, that there's these numbers are the thickness of the walls. So they're saying there are 20-inch walls that separate the original building, right? There was some openings within it, but these were 20-inch walls that separated where the stair volumes are from the central atrium type space. Those walls have taken, in recent years, the form of a columnar arcade. How do we know that? Well, we know that from a visit to the building. And if we go to this Google site, we have several views of the building that demonstrate that, right? On the first floor, there appear to be these massive columns, and those we're going to model. The upper floors, the opening, the borders of the opening were cantilevered forward, and you can see that there's an arcade wall that supports that. So there's also some views here that you can actually look around in. I'll try to find that, I believe. Here's an example of some imagery taken with a camera that saved it out as this sort of navigable panorama. So you can see there's that series of columns that's holding up It lives on the second floor and is holding up the third floor. Okay, so we're going to start with columns that go from level 1 to level 2, right at the periphery of the openings. These pictures are also telling us that the opening from level 1 to level 2 is more narrow than the one above it. We can tell that because this elevator is sort of tightly fits within that space, and that sits on these columns. So we'll deal with that in a second. So that means we're going to have to modify the second floor slab. Let's create a column. We don't need the Sanborn underlay to do that. So I'm going to draw a rectangle. There. That I think is the same size of these bases. So an isometric view. The column lives in the basement somewhere, so, but it is should be extruded to a height. Let's just provisionally call it 40 feet. Let's see where that lives with respect to floor slab 2. It's much taller than it, right? So we're going to take that to the top of it and move it down in the z-axis, lock it in place to the height of that floor. I went the wrong way. Front. Okay. We need to make that a component. Triple click, make component, column 1. So we need to, let's get this out of the way for now. We need copies of it. At these spots. There. Just snapping to where these. And then finally there. So then I suspect there were columns there as well. We go through the first floor slab, and the second floor slab is sitting on top of that. So can we modify this, which is the difference between two shapes? See if we take that face and move it. Now move it in this direction. Put it on top of there, and then the other way. Need that face to move the red axis so that it meets Let's try that again. Okay. Red axis to there. So that's what's going on with that set of columns on the ground floor, and it's holding that up. And then the third floor has a much wider opening, probably not as wide as it's represented here, but there's an arcade holding that up. So we'll have to come up with a strategy for modeling that. Close this group. Let's see if we can make a guess or, somehow draw the lines on the second floor slab where the arcade is. And I'm going to say that we can probably locate it with respect to the stairwell openings. Look at the pictures again. Yeah, because the stairwell openings are enclosed right at the point where this arcade begins. So there's probably some kind of fire-rated glass in there. And then there's a regular array of massive columns up here that are holding that up. We'll think about that for a minute and then pause this and draw the lines that form in plan where these two arcades are located. And maybe get the shape of that top floor also. Looks like there's a structural beam across the opening as well. I think we have an idea of what we can do here. This picture allows us to go from front to back. So what we're doing is building a series of massive columns that are apparently equal increments from the front to the back of the building. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 of these. The intervals are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we divide the length by 8, and that gives us the intervals. So let's see how we can do that. Measure from that endpoint to there. It's about 80 feet. So there's a column every 10 feet. Is that right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, so 80 feet, divide that. So every 10 feet, we have this massive column. I'm going to say it's got to be 4 feet in thickness. So let's go to our SketchUp model. And I'm going to draw right on top of this floor slab the second column. We'll start from that corner. Let's call it 3 feet. 36, 36. We can adjust this afterwards. And then the height to which we want to... Oh, I'm drawing on the wrong floor. That's okay. We want to extrude it to a height, let's just call it 12 feet provisionally. And I have to move that down oops. You first need to triple click and make it a component. Column 3 by 3. Move that down. On the blue axis to level 2. So the height of it is wrong, but we can adjust the height. We need for it to go. Let's turn off the visibility of the walls for now, so we can double click that, select that face and move it vertically until it snaps to the underside of the floor, and then close that component. There are 8 volumes, so we need 8 intervals, so we need 9 columns. Let us move it to the front of the building. Now we're going to array in this direction 10 feet, enter, and 8x. Did we do that correctly? That's pretty close. So there's the arcade that goes from level 2 to 3. Let me pause this and we'll complete it in a minute. I want to create this arcade. It's got to be symmetrical, right? So let's measure the distance. I think we can accomplish that by simply duplicating that on the opposite side of, the distance from that column. So measuring that endpoint 1 feet 1 inch. Let's put a guide. Are guides visible? View guides. 1 foot from that side. I'm going to select all these. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 of them. And move copy from that endpoint. Tap the copy key to there. That's about right. Okay, not quite, not exactly, but close enough. So we have a good idea of what the building structure is. Let's look at the picture one more time to see if we can gather any evidence from what happens above that floor. Looks like there's another arcade. Well, there's a series of trusses. And we'll look at another picture to see if we can figure out what it is that holds up the roof from the 3rd floor to the roof.